Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the Pioneer Homestead on a weekend. We have our wood stove going, and if you've never been here before, my name is Andrea and I live on what we like to call the Pioneer Homestead, and we live off-grid. So I have my oven right now. We are cooking some kiwi bread. Now you can see on my oven the temperature is pretty hot. It's coming down, but it was about 400. So I'm gonna show you, this bread is supposed to be cooked about 350 degrees until done. So probably 45 minutes to an hour. And so what I did is I covered mine with tin foil, and I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. So I just put tin foil over the top, and I'll show you what it looks like so you can kind of see what happened. And you can do this with pies, you can do this with casseroles. Obviously, if you've never done this before and your bread starts getting really hot, I can show you guys what I like to do. And you can see here, let's go ahead and take this off here. So you can see the bread around the edges. You can see, right here, this is, pretty done around the edges. Now, obviously what you have to do is you have to do, some people say a fork test, or you can do a toothpick test. And so what I have is this is, you actually buy these, and they are specifically not to sleep with. They are specifically to test your cakes and your breads with. So highly recommend that. We got ours back in Washington State, at the beach actually. So what I just do is put the toothpick in. I'm sure you've seen this before, it's clean. However, when I started seeing that it started getting dark around the edges, it's still really hot. What I did is I just put that tin foil over it. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it smells delicious. I wish we had smell-o-vision here. So I have mine obviously on this rack, this wire rack, just kind of let it cool. But before you turn it out onto either a plate or, a towel or a rack, what I like to do, and not everybody does this, but what I like to do is I kind of like to just go around the edges. And obviously I have greased this. I did grease it with coconut oil is what I like to use. And I just kind of go around the edges and make sure that it, is not sticking. And then I let it cool before I pull it out. So before I pull it out, I am going to let it cool. And then what I like to use, my handy dandy little stack here, is I like to use a wide one like this. So I use something, obviously you can see how big it is compared to the pan. This is a pretty good size loaf pan. This is a Pampered Chef loaf pan. But what I like to do is I like to go on the edge, kind of like this, and then I just work my way around and I tilt. Now, no one ever told me this. It's kind of trial and error. If you do this when it's hot and you try to take it out after doing this, the bottom will come out. So obviously, you do have to wait till it cools. But another thing is to make your bread stretch. So this was a recipe that I found that uses up old mushy kiwi, and I use the sunbeam kiwi. But one of the things that I like to do to make our food stretch is pair this in the morning with breakfast with an egg. It's added protein. There's 2 eggs in this whole recipe, but that's not a lot. When you have growing boys, you definitely need to have protein. You could also pair this with an afternoon cup of coffee, whichever you like. But what I like to do is once it cools, once I turn it out, I like to cut it straight down the middle. And then I make my slices. Now, this is probably common to some people, but some people it's not. And in order to make your food stretch, I know the cost of rising things right now, this is probably my best advice to make your food stretch, and then pair it, like I said, with an egg or another protein, yogurt, whichever you prefer. So I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I will leave the ingredients in the comments, but if you are wondering, it is 2 cups flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1/4 cup soda, a 1/2 teaspoon salt, 2/3 cup sugar, a 1/2 cup butter, and you do want to soften that. Otherwise, it's going to be really lumpy and hard. 2 eggs, and then 1 cup peeled and mashed kiwi. Now I used, like I said, the sunbeam kiwi, but you can use whichever you prefer. You could probably even add in a banana if you wanted it sweeter, not so tart. You could add in chocolate chips. You could put a glaze on this. A glaze, usually what I like to do is about 2 tablespoons water and 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And then if you have essential oils, that's what we like to sweeten our things with, essential oils. You don't have to. This is probably going to be a really good sweet tart bread. But that is my recommendation. You can enjoy it with a nice cup of coffee. I hope you all have a happy Saturday. I hope that you are enjoying this beautiful fall, wherever you are, autumn season. If you have not subscribed to my channel and you do want to see more handmade, homemade DIYs, pioneer style, off-grid living, please subscribe, share if you can, like, and if you have any questions or comments on items you would like to see, please let me know. Have a great Saturday, and blessings from the Pioneer Homestead.